Top 3 reasons why I quit nursing. I'd rather go back to school and just totally switch careers. Burnout literally stole my peace. I was beyond tired. My soul was tired. I was on Lexapro and I didn't want to go up in there no more. You got long shifts, you always pouring into people, but who pour into us? Nobody.
Yeah, that's
Second,
real.
I was missing too much family time. When I first became a nurse, my youngest two were going to daycare and I hated that. When it was my weekend to work, I feel like that's when all the things was happening in Richmond. I ain't want to be up at work. I'd rather be with them kids and having flexibility and spending time with my husband. And third, I just wanted more freedom. I didn't want another shift. I got tired of feeling like my time, my income was all controlled by somebody else. I wanted to be in business for myself. Those are my top reasons as to why I left nursing and never to return.
So many nurses are starting to quit, and we got to dive into why that is, what's going on in the hospitals causing them to quit. I got a bunch of clips that we're going to get into today, so let's get into this next one.
I hate being a nurse, and that might be a strong statement, and I literally feel like I'm gonna get upset, but I have been a registered nurse for 10 years. I have changed jobs several times because everybody's like, the great thing about being a nurse is if you don't like one area, you can go to another. And I've done ER, I've done NICU, I've done private duty, I've done IV hydration. I've tried all these different things, and I hate it. I hate being a nurse. There are so many nurse content creators on here that love it, and like I'm so happy that they have found a career that they have loved.
Sometimes
but
it just
after a
ain't for
decade
you.
of being a nurse, I hate it, and I want a new career. So if you love your job and you make a good living, please comment what you do for a living, because I can't be a nurse anymore. I hate it. I am so upset. I just hate being a nurse, and I wish I had never gone into this career because it has broken me down so many times. And
could
like,
hear it in her
even when
voice.
I try to get a low stress nursing job,
I could
it's
hear
not
it
low
rattling
stress.
in
I'm
her,
still
like she
dealing with a lot of
trying
the
not to
same
cry.
stuff that I used to have to deal with when I was working in the hospital, and I just can't do it anymore. I cannot do it anymore. And if you're looking to go to nursing school, don't do it. Do not do it. If you want to work in the medical field and you want to help
what you're
people,
getting into.
go into radiology, become a
what you're getting
radiology
into.
tech, become a surgical tech. Do not become a nurse. Do not. I 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
So I'm all for her recognizing the fact that, you know, she hates being a nurse and it's not for her, but then telling everybody else not to get into nursing, I don't think that's the right move to make, because you just said out of your same breath that there are some people that are nurses and they love it. So I think it's more so the fact that people should do their due diligence before they invest in a career in nursing, because similar to you, they may hate it or they may find that it's the perfect field for them and they love it like some other nurses do.
So unfortunately, I could not make it through the entire shift. I spent my entire shift literally begging for help, from my charge nurse to my director to the doctors. One of the doctors, who was like one of the admitted doctors, literally got so mad that he had to escalate something up to his supervisor.
That's
I guess I don't
crazy.
know what they call it, chief doctor or something like that. I have been begging for help, literally begging for help all day, until I just finally was like, I can't take this anymore.
She couldn't do it.
So I can't finish my 2 weeks. I can't. It's just like not possible. It's humanly impossible for me to finish my 2 weeks because I am terrified for my license. So I talked to the charge nurse that came on at night, and I told her, I need you to call someone. I got a very thorough report because it is a travel nurse that they ended up sending down, and she has no clue what she's doing. So I gave her a very thorough report. I sat with her for an hour, helped her out, getting the patient settled, all the rest of that, because I would never want somebody to just throw on me what was thrown on me.
Right.
It's unfair. Like, how the I get all those patients with all those issues? I'm escalating problems and I'm getting no help.
That's crazy.
Not even a tech or a CNA to help with just the basic of the basics and stuff. But like, really, like, I'm trying to escalate stuff. Like, it's people that need blood transfusions and like have no access, and I'm needing help, and I'm begging, literally begging. I beg.
It should not be
all
that
day
bad.
for help.
That's crazy.
Nothing. I'm like, dude, this ain't worth my license. If
Nah,
somebody
it's not.
dies, I documented the shit out of every single patient today. Like,
Smart.
I'm not gonna be caught in court for this shit
Heck, you know.
when I'm begging y'all, and then y'all laughing. Ha ha ha. No tech. I'm like, can I get some help? Ha 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 ha. No.
That ain't
shit
funny.
We just don't have extra techs laying around. Like, Okay.
I'm so relieved. I've finally been released of the shackles of my med-surg per diem job. It's honestly something I've been thinking about. I've been with this healthcare system for about 5 years now. This is a healthcare system I started at as a new grad. And to be quite honest with you, the power of trauma bonding is so strong because I was so trauma bonded to my coworkers there. That is the only reason I didn't leave.
Wow.
Mind you, this same healthcare system gave me a pay cut of $15 per hour.
What? That's crazy.
But I still stayed on per diem. And I don't know why I felt obligated to stay, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think as an oldest daughter in healthcare, I have such a high off doing so many things. And that was one of the things I was like, oh, and I do this. But I'm so excited to say that I have now quit that job. And instead, I'm going to be pouring my time into fitness. Starting next month,
that's a
I
big
will
shift.
be taking a course to be a certified mat Pilates instructor. And I'm so excited to just have another passion project along with content creation. It's going to be another way to itch that having to do something else, but in a way that'll be healthy for me and just so worthwhile. Like, I'm so excited. But yeah, I'll just say leave when you're not valued. Don't stick
real.
around long like I did. It's truly not worth it.
One of the craziest things that ever happened to me at work, I work for a doctor and he's objectively the worst one in the entire city that I work in. But I was monitoring the text line that patients
said
can text
objectively,
into and ask
bro.
questions, and somebody called actually and she told me that she has a problem with her medication or is giving her these certain side effects, and I knew that the doctor didn't like this patient because she came in and she always took forever during her appointments, but whatever, she was actually a really nice lady. Anyways, I went and asked the doctor the question because I didn't know if that was a normal side effect or not, which is what I was supposed to do. That was literally my job description. If I didn't know the answer, then I went and asked the doctor. So I went and asked him and I was like, hey, this patient is having this side effect, is that normal? And he was like, he starts freaking out and he literally threw down his paper and he was like, you can't answer the phone ever again, and you know what? You need to turn your phone off because I don't even want to hear anything about that patient, and you should have known that. You shouldn't have answered that patient. I don't want to hear anything about that patient, and you can't ask me that question. And I was like, okay, well, I already talked to her on the phone and she's just wondering if that's normal or if that's like a bad side effect.
That's such
and he
a
was
simple
like,
question
tell
to
her it's
answer.
normal. I don't even care. Just tell her it's normal. And
Wow.
also, you turn in your phone. You should not be allowed to answer the phone because I do not like that patient and I don't want you asking me about her. And so then he just yelled at me in front of everybody, the entire like clinic of MAs and all of the other people that were working. So then I went and sat back down in my little station in front of my computer, and then somebody asked me if I was okay, and so then because they asked me that, I immediately started crying and I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine, it's whatever, it's fine. Mind you, the person that asked me if I was okay was literally his daughter. Anyways, so then the office manager texted me and she's also his daughter, and was like, hey, what happened? Like, somebody told me you were upset. And I was like, well, this doctor just yelled at me, and it was literally just because I was doing my job. Like, I know he doesn't like this patient, but like, she still deserves care. Like, he's her primary care doctor, and she didn't know if the side effect was normal, so I had to ask him if it was normal. And I also was like, also, he literally yelled at me in front of everybody and threw something at me, and that's just super unfair.
That's crazy. Did I miss that
I don't
part?
really appreciate that. Then she's like, oh, I'm sorry that happened, and that's literally all she says. Then his wife, who's also the other office manager, calls me into her
the whole
office,
family on payroll.
and she says, this is like the next day, and she says, so I heard you were worried that this doctor was
sounding real
upset with you
condescending.
yesterday, and I just want to tell you that sometimes he just likes to publicly teach. He's really good at teaching.
It's the difference between
his
teaching and
employees.
humiliating
so he wasn't
somebody
getting mad at
publicly.
you publicly. He was teaching everyone, and he was using that opportunity to teach
Teaching them
everyone and
what
help
not
them
to
all
do.
be better. So he wasn't yelling at you, and he wasn't mad
How
at
you gonna tell somebody
And
you
I
weren't
said,
being yelled at?
okay, well, you weren't there, and he
Right.
was yelling at me, and also nobody else in the entire clinic does that job, so he actually was not teaching them. But, okay. So then I just sat there because I have no spine, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then, this is the worst part. She says, also, I know in nursing school, they, like, teach you that you need to stand up for your patients, even if that means going against the doctor.
Hold on, what you
but
about
we
to
don't
say?
do that here. There's no need
What?
for that here. Whatever this doctor
Ain't no
says
way.
is the way that we do it. This is her husband, by the way.
Yo, you
Whatever
better
he
quit
says
before they
is
mess your whole
correct,
license
and
up,
there's no
man.
need to
Get
stand
out of
for the
there.
patients to him. I said, actually, that's actually my exact job. My exact job is not to have loyalty to this doctor. It's to be a patient
Right.
advocate as a nursing student. That's my job.
Facts.
But again, I have no spine, so I didn't say that. And I just was like, okay.
Yeah, tell me why I just got off work and quit. Like, quite literally. I clocked out, got home, text them that I resigned, effective immediately.
Yo, she ain't playing.
Don't call me, don't text me, don't try to reason, don't try to get me to stay.
She's done.
Like, no, I'm done. I'm done with long-term care. Like, y'all done played in my face too many times. All y'all nursing homes. So, no, I'm not going to do that. I can make the same amount of money, if not more, and do less work. Not saying that I'm a lazy nurse, but the stuff that y'all be wanting us to do in long term, like overwork, underpaid, go home mentally exhausted. Crazy. I'm not doing that no more. Like, I'm going to take care of me. So me taking care of me kind of almost was like, quit your job, basically. And
sometimes you gotta do that.
Literally have another job lined up, a job that I prayed for, a job that I've been wanting to do.
God is good.
Since I became a nurse. So, yeah, up out of there.
I'm an ER nurse. I just quit my first nursing job. I just quit my first job ever in my entire life. I actually have never wanted to quit a job ever. I didn't even want to quit this job. It was not until I got blatantly disrespected for 10 minutes. This is just a special reminder for everyone. Protect your peace.
Facts.
Okay, because
Got to.
I wish that I could fabricate this story in any type of way like I was in the wrong. The fact of the matter is that I walked into that office, I was blatantly disrespected. And not only that, but then you interrupted me and you said, I can interrupt you anytime I want and I'm gonna do it again.
Wow.
I've officially decided to leave healthcare. I've already tried to make this once, but I just start crying because I'm an emotional person. And I think that's another reason why it's so hard to leave healthcare is because I do care. I feel everything for everyone, and that's why it's so hard to leave healthcare, because not a lot of people care. Those types of people do not need to be in healthcare. Where do I start? Okay, so for those that don't know, I'm a licensed medical laboratory technician. I've been in this field for 7 years. I've worked pre-COVID, I worked during COVID, I was in school during COVID, and I've worked post-COVID. In the past 2 years, I've been traveling, which I very much love the traveling aspect. And if I was to stay in this career, I would not go back staff, I would continue traveling. So I don't want people to be like, oh, you're such an influence for healthcare, yet here you are leaving it. And I fear that people are gonna have that mindset, but you're either going to understand what I'm about to say or you're not, and that's fine. I am 100% in a toxic relationship with the US healthcare system, and it's killing me physically and mentally, emotionally drained. My body is killing me. I'm 28 years old. I have more back pain than I've ever had in my entire life, and I understand whatever career I pursue after this, I'm always going to have the back pain, but at least my mind and my body will not both be effed up. Right. The US healthcare system is a business. It's became less of patient care and more of how much money can we benefit from patients and how much can we work our staff without having to hire more staff. The US healthcare system is not short-staffed. They got away with using and abusing us during COVID to see how much work we could put on ourselves without having to hire full-time employees. COVID was 5 years ago. This is 2025 and nothing's changed. I already knew going into traveling that these facilities were not going to be different than my staff job, but I knew that if I was going to be doing the same type of BS, I was going to get compensated for it. The best way to make money in the healthcare field right now is by traveling. I'm not a nurse. I'm coming at this aspect from the laboratory side. Over the past 7 years, I've done my best on this app to advocate for healthcare workers and to advocate specifically for the lab staff, because the lab is one of the most underpaid and unappreciated fields in the healthcare industry. But it comes a point where if your body is so broken down, it's time to get out. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Past 2 contracts that I've worked as a healthcare traveler have absolutely sucked the life out of me. The last one being in Kentucky, the one that terminated me. I have so much to say about this facility, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut for legal reasons. That place does not need to be operating. That place is ran by the HR department, and there is no pathologist to oversee anything that is happening in that laboratory. So going to work every day, knowing that my instrumentation was failing me, that my fellow employees that were not properly educated that were failing me, my phlebotomists who were not properly trained by the hospital were failing me.
That's crazy.
Taking all of this, I couldn't keep up mentally. I was making mistakes and I was catching other people's mistakes because of the staffing issues and because of the lack of responsibility with management. This current contract that I'm on, I 100% would come here as a patient. I think that the results that I turn out are 100% accurate. I have faith in my instrumentation, I have faith in my team leads, and I have faith that I'm working around people that genuinely care about others. My body has been broken down by the ergonomics at this facility. It is a smaller facility that has grown a lot in the past couple years, and I love that for them, but you can't just keep growing and keep adding on without adding full-time staff.
Right.
Last contract mentally drained me. This contract physically drained me. 2 contracts in a row like that, and I just feel like it's time for me to get out. I'm 28 years old, and I have so much back pain to the point where my one day off on Friday, I stood up off my couch on my day off. I lost all feeling in my right leg. I found myself on my floor for 5 seconds and was like, did this really just happen? I fell to the floor and I thought I broke my ankle. So here I am driving myself to the urgent care to pay for x-rays that I can't even afford with $300 a month health insurance, okay? Don't even get me started with the U.S. healthcare system coming at it as a patient, because I already know that my health insurance probably is not even going to cover anything that just happened on Friday to get the x-rays to rule out that my ankle was not broken. There was one person that could cover me that I already knew had plans for the weekend. So then it just becomes a guilt trip of, I'm just putting my work onto someone else. I feel guilty for not going in. So what do? I go in and I work 4 days straight on a sprained ankle. No college degree, no career, and no amount of money is worth losing yourself physically or mentally. I can't just sit here and bash healthcare, because I'm so grateful for some of the life lessons that it's taught me. And I say that I'm in a toxic relationship with healthcare because it was there for me when I had nothing. Some of you all have been following me since 2016 when I lived in New York on a military base and I was set in my spare bedroom doing makeup tutorials. And then some of you all have found me along the way in my healthcare career. And I'm so thankful for everyone that's followed me along the way. All I've ever really wanted to be is a good godly wife and a mom. When the wife part fell through and my ex-husband made the decisions he made against our marriage, I had to build myself from the ground up alone. All I knew is I had to provide for myself financially, because I was never going to ever let a man tell me to go get an effing job ever again. Ever since then, I've been married to my career, and this is where I've been since then. It's really hard because I still so strongly desire to be a wife and a mom, and I fear that with the amount of stress that my body is under in this career, that I won't be able to carry a child. I know that I'm not the only one going through all of this, because every friend that I've made on every contract is in the same spot, and they're just dying to get out. You don't want to get out because you feel like you're being weak and you're letting the system win. It just comes to a point where you just have to walk away, and that's where I'm at 7 years later.
Being a black nurse is an anomaly in its own right, but being an ICU black nurse is a whole different spectrum. And a lot of times you will run into situations where the only option is to exit stage left. One time I got called into my manager's office because I was being reported by another nurse because I made her feel uncomfortable when she was eavesdropping on a private conversation that I was having with a friend/nurse. The conversation wasn't anything inappropriate. We were simply discussing pro or anti-union, but we were joking amongst ourselves. And she said the language I was using made her feel unsafe.
This A and B, you better see your way out of this, right?
And the manager decided to pull me away from my patients to tell me that if I continue said behavior, she would have to get HR involved. She did not ask me what actually happened. She didn't ask me for my version of events. None of those things.
That's crazy.
Just to let me know that if I continue with said reported behavior, she would email HR. I said, don't you worry about it. She said, what do you mean? I said, don't you worry about it. I will handle that. I exited her office, walked to the nurse's station, sat down at an available computer, opened up my company email, CC'd and BCC'd all my personal emails, emailed her and HR together, and let them know effective immediately I will be vacating this said position that you begged me to take. Rushed me off of orientation because you were so short on experienced nurses. And the reason why is because I don't feel safe here as a black woman in this department. And if you want to improve on said behavior, these are a list of things that I would suggest in the future. I finished my patient load, clocked out, and those people never saw me again.
Wow.
Thought you were short on nurses, you're going to be shorter now.
Officially resigned from my job. from nursing in general. I didn't want to say anything until it was official, but it's now pretty official. I've been a nurse for about 5 years now, and lately I've been feeling like I'm at the end of my nursing journey. Just feeling run down, burnt out, stuck, whatever you want to call it. I've outgrown the career and just everything that comes with it. Just resigned out of nowhere, by the way. I do have another job. I have one more week of nursing and then I am done. Moving into a totally different industry, and this is just a massive, massive step for me. All of my family is shift workers, and I'm moving into a job that's Monday to Friday. It's 9 to 5. It's very different from what I know. It's going to be a massive transition.
I'm an ER nurse. I just quit my first nursing job. I just quit my first job ever, actually, ever in my
I have one more week of nursing and then I'm done. Moving into a totally different industry, and this is just a massive, massive step for me. All of my family is shift workers, and I'm moving into a job that's Monday to Friday. It's 9 to 5. It's very different from what I know. It's going to be a massive transition.
The worst part about being a nurse is not the patients, it's not the doctors, it's your coworkers. And some of my coworkers make me want to quit nursing forever. Let me tell you about what happened recently that makes my blood absolutely boil. It was 9 a.m. I was talking to my coworker who I thought was my friend, and we were just talking about life, food, traveling, money. And then I said, yeah, I come here to make money, but it all just goes to my rent, car insurance, food, etc. That's all I said. And then my coworker goes behind my back and tells my manager this, and I know that because I get a call from my boss saying,
what a hater.
Alex, we need to talk right now. Come into my office.
Are you
So I walk into the
serious?
office. It's my manager and my chief nursing officer.
Ain't no
and my
way.
manager sits there, crosses her arms, and says, "So, I hear that you're only here for the money. Is that true?"
What?
And at first, I was
Yo,
mortified
that's so
because,
diabolical.
one, I didn't really say that, but yeah, I am here for the money. But then I was like, why should I apologize for that? This is a job. We signed a contract where I said I will be your nurse and provide my services, and then you pay me a rate. And then I just sit there for like 20 minutes and they just yell at me saying that if I want to be a nurse, I cannot think about money.
What?
And it's like, first, yes, one of the top reasons why
Don't
I'm here
nobody
is
take
to
no
make
job
money,
without
because
thinking
without
about the money.
and this job, I will become homeless. But
The
I
money
also
ain't
love to
everything,
save
but
lives.
yo,
I love
you
to take
thinking
care of
about it.
people. That's why I'm a nurse. And I just hated how in healthcare, they just vilify anybody who's there to be here for money. Like it's not a career. Like I know people who became a nurse because it's their calling, but I also know people
But
who
that's
are
not
here
everybody,
because
though.
they're just a good nurse and they're here for good job security and
Yeah.
a stable paycheck.
Nothing
and there's
wrong
nothing
with that.
wrong with either of those things.
I'm saying this in the most respectful way possible, but no amount of self-care days, retail therapy is going to fix the absolute dread on your soul that is your bedside nursing job. Also said in the most respectful way possible, but sometimes it's just not going to get better. And it's actually really cool to quit a job that makes you miserable. And who cares if it hasn't been a year since you started? Who cares if you're going to lose your skills? Chances are the unit is always going to be short-staffed. The unit will always give you way too many critical patients at one time. The nurses are probably always going to be mean, and you probably weren't meant to be there in the first place. I am saying all of this because I wish somebody sat me down and said, stop choosing to be miserable. Stop allowing your job to consume your life. Stop thinking that you have to stay somewhere because of societal norms, and choose yourself. Nurses love to wear their burnout and misery like a badge of honor. Like if you're not burnt out or miserable at your job, you're not doing it right. And that is such flawed logic in my opinion.
It is.
And let's use critical thinking here and know that if you love your job and you have a healthy work-life balance, this video is not for you. But I'm talking to the people who have physical symptoms when thinking about their job, who have weight on their chest, who cry before every shift, who don't really so much be there. Dread surrounding the nursing career. I'm going to slap you in the face in a nice way and say, apply for other jobs and just quit. Just go. I promise you, someone who has left their job that made them miserable and now loves their job, it is so worth it.
So to everyone who saw my I Hate Nursing video, and if you didn't, hi, I'm Margaret and
She's
I hate
back.
being a nurse. I just wanted to come on here and let you guys know that I have officially put in my resignation and quit my job. I honestly couldn't be more happy. I am going to be transitioning into clinical research, and honestly, if this does not work out, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty cool opportunity, but if this doesn't work out, I'm done with nursing.
So I want to follow up from my last video where I talked about how scandalized I was seeing so many nurses just leaving their jobs right now without a new job lined up. I'm saying this not because I hate you and I want you to stay in a god-awful job. I'm looking out for you, girl. The job market right now is horrendous. There are plenty of nurses with lots of experience who are also struggling to find work right now. I hope you have an easier time than them, but there's no guarantee that you will. Let me give you a reality check. If you quit your job this week and you started applying that same day for work, even if you're lucky and you get a job very quickly, it could very well take a month until you're actually in a new job, maybe even longer than that to get your first paycheck. I don't know if you've seen gas prices recently and how we're going into World War III. Potentially going over a month without a paycheck is not a financial reality for me right now. My guess is it's not for you. If it is, girl, I'm jealous. Leave that job, do whatever. But if you're anything like me, risking extended unemployment is not financially smart. So yes, leave the crappy bedside job, but don't leave your bedside nursing job until you have a job offer from a new role in a better place.
That's smart.
I'm looking out for you.
What she's saying is spot on, and she's not being a hater at all. She like, yo, if you need to quit, and there's so many reasons why nurses are quitting, as we saw from these clips today. If you need to quit, if it's not a role or a job or a career that is fit for you anymore, or you just can't deal with the stress, the strain, the burnout, you can't deal with the physical and the mental agony that comes with going to that job every single day, then by all means, quitting may be the right solution for you. But what she's saying is so accurate. Make sure that you already have another job in place. Like some of the nurses that we saw, like they didn't quit until they already had another job that they could transition to. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the case for some people, right? In some circumstances, you may just have to chuck the deuce and leave the job and then sort things out. And that's the reason why, from a financial perspective, it's so important to have an emergency fund. So therefore, if you do need a month or 2 or maybe even 3 months to transition between quitting that job without already having one lined up and then finding your next job, you at least have some money to hold you over so that you don't get put in a situation where, you know, you getting evicted or you're getting your car repossessed or something crazy like that happening. So I hope that you enjoyed these videos. We see that this is happening within the healthcare industry. There are so many issues that are going on. Some of the videos that we watched, they pointed out some of those issues in the healthcare system in itself, in the patient care, and some doctors and some nurses not being there for the right reasons. There's so many issues going on. And as a result, there are nurses that are done. They're fed up and they're moving on to better careers. But thankfully, there are still nurses who enjoy doing the job and they are there. And I appreciate their sacrifice. We all are grateful for the work that they're doing. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Jay. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, stay blessed.